Welcome back to Night Owls. You join me, Tom, in glorious HD. If you're listening on a podcast player that has video enabled, you can switch and see my face, and then I won't be offended if you switch it back off afterwards. But Dave, hi. How are you doing?
Hey,
Glad to be on video with me, or hating it already?
so far so good, but this is something new, so we'll see how it goes.
It is. I mean, look at me, 19 days without drinking and coming up with all of these good ideas. Maybe that was just the brain power that I needed all along. Just going to do this podcast acting as if the video element wasn't your idea that you've been going on about for ages.
Well,
But, dry January is underway and I feel like it has been good for me. It's been kind of a healthy feeling year. Have you been doing it, dry January? Or you just have like a good grip on your consumption anyway?
yeah, I haven't been drinking too much because I was kind of ill over
Oh
Christmas
yeah,
and New Year, so it kind of
of course.
took me down. How come you're doing it?
To be honest, December was like a lot.
Okay.
And I realized I was like, man, I don't feel that productive or happy or relaxed. I've just been drinking like infinite amount of mulled wine in Germany and then going home and drinking an infinite amount of Guinness. And, December is like a gluttonous month. And I feel like probably that's why they chose January, because like nobody's going out, nobody's got any money. You've just, drunk your liver away at Christmas. And I was talking to a friend about it, friend of the show, Jake, our mutual friend. And he was saying all of this, when you start talking to people about alcohol and they give it all of this, like all the research they've read about, why it's so bad for you. He's a very learned man, our Jake. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. And he was like, yeah, I'm done too. Let's do dry January. And I was like, yeah, good. We'll do dry January, which I think I'd done it one year, like accidentally, just because I had no social life. But I'd never actually done it in a way that I had to like make it a thing and control myself. Do you know what I mean? Which I'm doing this year, and it's been good. But to be honest, like I got to the end of December, and also I was ill, like you, and I even got to the 30th, and I was like, I'm doing dry January now. Like if I'm done, then I'm done, and I'm done. So it's the 18th now, and so I've done 19 days without drinking, and yeah, looking to extend the streak and keep it going. New Year's without drinking was kind of a weird experience, which is kind of worrying. But what's probably even more worrying is I went out without drinking for the first time this January, and it was so much fun walking home at night at like 2 a.m. listening to music and being like completely sober. That's like just such a weird experience. It's like the exact same flow of the night, except you're sober. And it was kind of worrying to me how I'd like never had that feeling before. Because when you walk back from the bar, or you get the tram back from the bar or whatever, put on some music, text people, heart react people's Instagram stories. I was like doing all of that, but without drinking beforehand. It was mad. It was so much fun. I loved it.
I'm surprised that's the part of the experience that you enjoyed. I
Yeah,
would have
I did.
thought like that's the moment where it's actually quite nice to just be, have the edge taken off.
Yeah, that is true. You do feel like a bit of a spoil sport, like when you go out with people. Like I was out with two people, and I even texted in the group chat beforehand. I was like, by the way, I know last time we went to this same event, we were drinking. I'm not drinking, so make of that what you will. And I was like, you guys can do whatever, and I'll just like join in the fun vibes, but I'm not drinking. But they both did it with me as well. And we were drinking some 0% beers, and it was good fun. I think for the first like 15 minutes, when normally you sit down and you drink is like the first thing that you do, you're without drinking, you'll be like, why are we here? Like, what's going on? But then after those 15 minutes, you're like, oh, this is literally fine. We're just hanging out. And just because we're in like a dark room where they're playing music, where every other person is drinking, like doesn't mean that you have to. Like you do every time you go. It doesn't actually mean that you have to. I think it's something you get used to like very, very quickly, to be honest, considering it's such like an ingrained cultural norm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had it a few times where I've been driving, and the good thing about that is it gives you a very valid excuse, and so you don't feel awkward. If anything, you feel a bit sort of morally superior,
Yeah.
like I can't
Heroic.
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I actually find if I don't drink, my mind is much sharper for conversation. And
Yes.
especially if it's like one of those, evenings where you're talking about ideas and stuff. If I've had too much, I'm just like, I just can't focus on what the other person's saying. And it's so much nicer to have a good conversation where you can really
Yes,
focus.
definitely. I think there's like the two beer seesaw where I'm like, after the second drink, you're like, everything else in the world doesn't exist, like dead focused on the conversation. And I feel really sharp there. But after the third and fourth drink, I do notice myself in conversation. I'm like, damn, 1 hour ago, I would have been much funnier, much more insightful in the things that I'm saying. And now I'm just sort of being an idiot. Like, why did I go this far? But, once you start the two beer seesaw, the second two beers come pretty quick every single time. So it's probably best to not get on board like in the first place. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's so much nicer when you feel sharp and you feel like qualified to take part in the conversation and not like, oh my god, I'm boring this person by just like telling awful jokes, which I do enough sober, but when I'm drunk, they get worse and worse. So you kicking anything this year then? If not
So
alcohol?
at the moment, nothing has happened, but I am planning to stop.
That's a great review of the year for 18th January. Like, that's much better than a lot of people are. At the moment, nothing has happened. Some people would kill for that.
Well, normally people sort of start a New Year's and give up by now, but I'm sort of doing the
Yeah.
opposite of that, where I've done nothing so far, but I'm planning on Monday to go fully decaf and quit caffeine.
I would love to know
Yeah.
everybody's response to this. Who they think is more mad, me going 0% or you going decaf. I
So
feel like there'll be a split in the viewership.
this is a first world problem, of course, but I do struggle a lot with like the afternoon dip, and I've tried a few different things like not having a big lunch and having coffee, not having coffee. It doesn't seem to really make much difference, but it does. Like it's, I know everyone kind of gets it, but maybe it's just in my head, but I really notice I just lose motivation, focus, and it's like I really wish I didn't have that.
Yes.
So I've seen some things on YouTube, some like bro science.
Yeah. Peer-reviewed medical studies.
Yeah, some fellow I've never heard of on Diver CEO or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe I should try cutting out decaf because I get quite a boost in the morning and then a dip in the afternoon. So I was thinking, like, if
Yeah.
I could just even that out, that would really be good. And I think the thing is with the kind of stuff we're doing is for lots of people, what we need is not necessarily that sort of hyperactive like boost,
But I want it so badly.
but more kind of clarity of mind.
Mm.
So I think if you're sort of working late and you're sort of doing a very physical task, a cup of coffee will get you going and keep you focused. But if I'm trying to write something, like the coffee doesn't help because then I'm just like jittery. And then the lack of coffee doesn't help either because then I'm just like in a bit of a dip.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
it's
that
just
makes sense.
yeah, it's just an experiment. I don't know how long I'll sort of do it for.
And how many did you usually have in a day? Like, at your worst substance abuse, how many cups are we talking?
Well, at the moment I don't have too much, like one or two. But when Pret was doing their 5 a day free,
Did they get rid of it?
yeah, it
No
went
way,
down
you can't
to
do that anymore.
they still have subscription, but it's just half price coffee.
Oh
Which
no,
is
they stopped. Ah, damn.
yeah, but it was too good to be true. It worked out like 20p a coffee when it usually costs £3.50
Yeah, that is
or
mad.
something.
And also, like, a place to sit in London with a public toilet. Like, that's just, that's a infinite money glitch, basically, for as long as that place
Yeah.
exists. I guess they were, for anybody who doesn't live in the UK, can you explain what it was?
So it's this subscription to a coffee shop, just like Starbucks or whatever. And it used to be £30 a month, and you would get 5 free coffees a day. So if you have one a day, that's £1 of coffee. and if you have 5 a day, that's 20p a coffee. And yeah,
I
it
feel
was
like
just
nobody should be having 5 a day with like the proper coffee bean coffee.
yeah. And I think when I first got the subscription, I was trying to make the most of it. Maybe not having 5, but I
Yeah.
was having like 3 or 4.
I guess they're
And
just hoping you go in and you buy like a water or a brownie or something as well, right?
yeah, they wanted to pay a bit more. But I think what was happening is people were bringing their laptops, sitting there, and basically
Yeah.
making them no money. So
People, eh? Who's people? Do you want to suggest someone who might fit in that category of
yeah, like
people?
who would bring a laptop and just sit there for
Yeah.
hours doing stuff?
Wow. Disgraceful behavior. You know, this is why I love the library so much, because you don't feel any guilt however long you stay there. And I'm still astounded by it, like that libraries exist. And I mean, I know you go to the one at King's Cross as well.
Do you go
And I
often?
just, yeah, I go all the time. There was a time like October and November when my home Wi-Fi was gone, and I was going there quite a lot. But in general, I tried to go like once a week at least with the laptop, and like that's the whole reason I got a TV now in the flat, which I never had before. But I was going to the library, and I was like, damn, you can watch all these movies for free. Like, what the hell?
Oh,
Like,
okay.
why get Netflix or anything? Like, they're just giving movies away at the library. You could just watch them. And I've just gone like flicking through like some nights and just come home like with a Blu-ray. And then you don't spend ages like scrolling on Netflix, not deciding what to watch because the decision's already made. And I watched some really weird stuff that I never would have heard of. So, you know, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But I just can't believe, yeah, that they exist. And you can get like ebooks as well. Like I got an ebook reader this year, and so you can use the library without even going there. Like it's madness. I love it so much. Yeah, I was boring Anya with this when we were out shooting at the weekend. She asked me one thing about a movie, and I was like, oh, yeah, I got it from the library, and then I talked about the library for ages. But yeah, what reminded me of that is you can sit there and work for as long as you like. They have Wi-Fi, and particularly here in Leipzig, like one of the reasons I first signed up for it was it's a network of free public toilets because it's like a chain, the library. They have them all over the city. So wherever you are, there's normally a library, and it's like a free public toilet, which we don't really have. And then, yeah, the more I went in there, the more things I noticed that I wanted to rent all the time. And yeah, you can just sit there and work, sit there with your laptop, plug in. They have a water machine. You know, life is good. Life is good.
Yeah,
And that's how you
it's
can tell you're
amazing.
getting old, I guess.
And like, surely that would never be funded today. If someone came up with that idea,
No,
they'd
definitely
be like,
not.
we haven't got money for this. So
Yeah, they'd be like, you know all that stuff that you make money from, selling books on Amazon and stuff. Why don't we give them to people for free? And they have
yeah.
like magazines as well. Like I've been in there. I sometimes read. Oh, I've got one here for the video listeners. National Geographic in
Oh,
German,
nice. The Alhambra.
and yeah, that's why I got this one. And you know, I like it. And I go through it and I'll like underline like German words that I haven't seen before and stuff. And it's quite good. And it's like €8 or something. It's really expensive. But the library near me, they get them every month. So sometimes I just go in there and sit there and read it for a bit. Obviously, you can't draw or write on the pages on the library copy. But I'm just like, damn, how are all of these companies, like sometimes I give it, what is it? Yeah, it's like €8.50 for National Geographic, right? And I have sometimes given it to them. So why are they in the library giving it away for free? Like, who's paying for that? It makes no sense to me. I can just go and read it for free.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like why are the publishers agreeing to be in libraries, kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess the library must be giving them money and then the government is giving the library money.
Yes. Yeah. So they don't just like ask like, "Hey, we're a library. Can you give us a free copy?" I
I
don't know.
imagine
Do they
they
just do a
pay a
normal subscription or
license.
something?
Yeah, I don't even know. And also, you know what I don't understand is when you go into a cafe and there's newspapers. Because when I got this morning, this coffee, again for the video listeners, there's a coffee place near me that they also have a newspaper stand. And when I'm waiting in the line, I sometimes stand there and read the headlines for like 30 seconds. But someone just walked in and took one of the newspapers and walked out. And I was just like, what gives? Like, if they're giving them away in coffee shops, like, why do people actually buy them? If anyone can explain how that works to me, then yeah, I'd love to know.
Are they giving them away, or did he just steal them?
Yeah, maybe it was just I witnessed petty crime, someone stealing a €1.50 newspaper. I'm not sure. But what I also wanted to ask you about is if you're kicking caffeine, how are you going to get through this new course that you're doing?
Yeah, so I guess a little bit of an announcement, which is I'm going to be doing Paddy Galloway's accelerator program, I think he calls it.
Nice.
And I
And
think
for people
I'm
who haven't heard of him or that, could you give some background?
yeah, so he's this like YouTube consultant guru kind of guy, um, who is like people would say he's like the world expert on YouTube.
I mean, I would say that you're the world expert on YouTube. Has he passed his
Well,
forklift driver's test? He gives the test.
so I kind of been thinking about doing it for a while, and the thing I'm a bit apprehensive about is I don't want it to be like, oh, you should just like hire an editor and then you'll get more videos. I don't want that kind of thing. But what I was thinking about, we spoke in the last video how many videos we did last year. I think I said we both did 18. I actually did 17. So
Yes! Victory!
yeah.
Aguero!
Of those 17, 5 of them did over 1 million, and most of them
No
closing
Aguero.
in
VAR.
So I've been kind of thinking like, I can obviously do that. I don't think they're like flukes,
That's
like
like 1
5
in
flukes.
3.
Yeah, and then like Gautier's 900, Tame Impala's like
Yeah.
650. So I think with a bit of help, I could just get some more of them and get rid of the Mozarts. So that's my kind of plan.
Okay, so do you know what the content of the course is? So it's this guy who consults on how to get views on YouTube, and he does a course. I guess it's remote. Is it live, or do you just get to watch some pre-recorded videos?
It's live. It is for monetized creators only, so it's not like beginner stuff.
Monetized. Does that make you not a beginner anymore?
I guess it's not going to be like what frame rate should my camera be and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or like kind of like with Ali's one that I did, there was a lot of getting you going. So it's like post every week, that kind of thing. But this is going to be
as well.
Ali Abdal, YouTube.
YouTube guru.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be great. I don't know if it's going to be like okay. It's 8 weeks.
It's 8 weeks. Okay, well, I mean, there's not really that much risk. I mean, I know you have to pay to be in it, but in 2 months' time, like you'll either feel like a better YouTuber or not, depending on how good this guy's advice is. What is the question that you would ask him right now? Like, what is your first thing that you want to know?
I think I'd just like a little bit of an overview on when he looks at my channel page, why are some doing so much better? Because I don't think the quality of the video and the editing is much better in a 2 million Keith Jarrett one compared to a 100k David Bowie one or whatever. So hopefully I'll get some feedback on that. And also Mithana, my friend from Looking Glass Universe, is doing the course as well. So we'll both be doing it.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've never actually done anything like that. I mean, maybe it shows in my inability to pick good ideas for YouTube videos, but I never did any like education on it. I mean, that's probably a new genre. Like YouTube education is probably a new genre anyway. Like I doubt there's a master's course that you can do in it yet.
Do you think you would if you
just starting to do it? I mean, I think what you're doing is great, and I fully think it's one of your good qualities that you're looking for this knowledge, and you're willing to put in the time and money to study and master everything. And I'm obviously looking forward to soaking up some of the wisdom secondhand for free, like a little leech that I am. So it's all, everything's working out for me. If I was playing devil's advocate for the podcast, I would say I definitely see the appeal, but I don't know if he's the person I would look to. I would. So, could you give some of the like big clients that he's worked with?
Well, he's worked with Mr. Beast.
There we go. That's the stop the list. So, I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and I'm kind of jealous. But if I was playing devil's advocate just to have a longer conversation on the podcast, I would say, do I want to like? How much advice do I want from someone who thinks that Mr. Beast videos are good? Because like I don't. So we have like a clash of like I don't know, taste immediately. Do you know what I mean? Obviously they're effective. You want to get video advice from someone who thinks that they're effective because they are. But if he actually thinks that that's like what like creation and filmmaking is, I worry like about drinking that Kool-Aid a little bit too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And yeah, I don't want someone to just say, do the Mr. Beast face in the thumbnail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the same thing, like when you applied, because you had to apply, and only 10% of people get in as well. So I was quite lucky to get it. You could put some notes, and I said that I really enjoy doing everything myself. I don't want to manage a team of people and an editor. Because Ali spoke about that a lot. He was saying, if you're going to do a video a week, you need an editor, which is fair enough for what he's doing, but I wouldn't want to do that. But I do think I could get some help. I mean, even with the latest videos, if I look at my channel page, I don't think the thumbnails are that good. So yeah, I'm not expecting sort of Mr. Beast kind of stuff, but there's definitely some help I could get, I think. And also, I'm very fortunate, I guess, that if he could take a video from, say, 1 million to 2 million...
Yeah, it pays it back.
It would, yeah. So we'll see.
I think it's great. I think it's great. Anything you can do to focus on being better at what you love, I think is always useful. And yeah, the advice of like getting an editor, I just think there's two types of like people who are in this game, and some people are YouTubers and some people just want to run a business and take a salary. And like Ali is one of those. So he's like, he could be really good at running a lot of different businesses, I imagine. But he happens to be in the video production business, and he's really good at that. Like he's
see great.
Like a great creative desire there. I just see someone who's really good at like what they do and delegating and running the business, and is being like justifiably financially rewarded for it. So he's like, oh, there's a platform called YouTube where if people give you their eyeballs, I get dollars. So I'm just gonna do whatever I can to make like Ali Abdaal Limited grow as fast as possible. And like he's so good at it. But he'll be good at running any business because he has that mindset and those like skills that he has. And then you have people who are genuinely like passionate YouTubers and creative people who want to do filmmaking stuff, and to tell them as your first thing, like, oh, to make money, like take away some of the filmmaking aspect from what you do, they're going to find that quite like a knife being twisted in them. Like, oh, that's like half the reason I got into this, because I wanted to use my creative energy and spend time like working on films that I've made. And you're saying the first thing I should do is just, give somebody like an hourly wage to do that for me. That's not really the reason why I was here, and that doesn't align with like my goals of being a creative person. So I think there's kind of two different styles of people who are in this game.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, and I'm fairly confident that he'll sort of understand that, and it won't be like one size fits all. Let's copy Mr. Beast.
Yeah, that's fair.
And yeah, I just really want to do these as well as I can, and sometimes you have to sort of invest and try your best to learn, and this is one of those things. So I'm quite excited.
We love the Irish as well. Paddy Galloway, listening to that accent all evening on some Skype call is probably going to be quite easy. I think it's a really nice accent. What accent from around the world do you like, or you find easy to listen to?
I like any of them when they're quite soft. So my first thought was like Australian, but I think that's because I don't really hear many Australian accents.
Yeah, I think Kiwi accents are like the smoother version of Australians. Kiwi is like Australia and South Africa put together, but more gentle. So I think that's quite nice. My favourite is probably South Africans. I think they have a really nice drawl. I mean, you can't get them talking about anything other than rugby for too long, so that gets kind of boring. But I do think anytime I hear it on TV, I'm like, damn, that is a nice accent.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind American when it's quite good. Is it?
I find it weird sometimes to see British accents in the media, like because everything is just default American. So seeing English accents, like in Friends where they have that English character, it's like, ugh. Even though I sound like that, it's quite jarring. I'm like, oh God, what a weird accent that is. And then I realise like that's mine. It's just I'm not used to hearing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's it is quite weird.
But I mean, everybody here in Europe speaks in that way because they learned English through American media. So I'm kind of used to it at this point. And thank you to everybody for watching our first video episode. Let us know if you want to continue it in our little boxes. The disadvantages I have to tidy my flat before recording, so that's a massive ick. But if you enjoyed it, then I'll go through that pain again for you, dear listeners, gladly. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, it's been good fun. I'm really excited for this year, all these different things that are happening. And we've got lots with your channel, I guess, to see what comes of that.
Am I supposed to be uploading? I forgot. I did not get the memo.
So the jury is still out on how things will go, but exciting times ahead.
Brilliantly. And I guess as the podcast goes on, we'll get updates from your master's degree in clickbait.
Yeah, so stay tuned, and I might even drop a sort of tip of the week or something.
Oh, brilliant. Looking forward to it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye. See you next time.
See ya.